So, welcome to the first edition of Nerds on the Block. My name is Tim, this is Shamar, and this is Dex. We are going to highlight our top 10 categories from the Game of the Year Awards, which is slated for December 10th this week. And we are going to give you, the viewer, our honest opinions on all these categories. And to start us off, Dex, go us off with.
All right, so for this first category, we got Best Multiplayer Game. So honestly, I've played all these games except for Valorant. And for me, what's going to take it is Among Us by Innersloth. Reason being is because of just the accessibility that they made this game available. You can play this on your phone, tablet, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Not only can everybody play together on different platforms, but it's also just easier for different kinds of people to play, like whether it's your mom or dad. Like I was able to convince my parents and my two sisters to download it on their phone while I was sitting here in my house, during COVID too. And we were all able to play this game with each other. And it's not a hard game to play. The controls are easy, and there's like some deceptiveness to it. There's personality that comes with playing this game, and it's kind of like playing cards with your family or playing a board game with your family. It's something that everybody can play and have a good time doing. So for me, my choice is going to be Among Us.
No, good choice. Honestly, Among Us definitely stands above the rest for me as well. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Honestly, I want to give a shout out to that game too, because that game did come out in left field for a lot of people this year, and a lot of people definitely were drawn towards that platform as well. And obviously Call of Duty Warzone, definitely one of the top shooters of the year as well. But I just think Among Us, like, to piggy off your point, is just anyone can play this game. And like when you say best multiplayer, you get more people in a room that can play this and have fun.
Yeah, it's basically already been said. I think it's pretty unanimous that it's Among Us.
Best family game. So my choice would be Animal Crossing New Horizons by Nintendo. Just when this game came out, the impact that millions of people are playing this title. Like, I know so many people that got a Nintendo Switch just for this title alone, and they would show their islands to their family members, to their best of friends, and like they would all congregate on their island. It just definitely brought the world together in such a moment of uncertainty. I would say Animal Crossing New Horizons takes this one.
Cool.
I guess out of the lot, I would definitely say Fall Guys. I feel like it's the most ready to play game. You can kind of just jump in and jump out. Anybody can play, anybody can access, anybody can enjoy it. And I mean, anybody that likes wacky, zany, minion-like characters are definitely going to enjoy.
Yep. Creating inflatable.
Creating their own character and just joining into the madness, and it's just easy to get into. And I found my girlfriend, not a big gamer, but it's one game she's always kind of like begging to play every time we do throw the PS4 on, and she's interested in playing anything. So definitely Fall Guys for me.
Yeah, so same with him. My choice also would have been Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Just kind of one of those games where you can pass it off to somebody, and there's not really too much controls or information that you need to pass to them. They just pick it up. They got to cross the finish line, and it's kind of fun because you're basically just watching each other take turns trying to beat this quick game. And then my second choice would be Mario Kart, because again, same kind of concept. You just give them the controller and they just watch on the screen where to drive the kart, and I think anyone can kind of pick up and play that game.
So we got Best Fighting Game. For Best Fighting Game, we got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and Under Night in Birth EXE Late CRL. That's a lot. Yeah, definitely. Right off the bat, I'd say Mortal Kombat 11, just with the plethora of characters they've just been kind of shitting out. It seems almost like month to month. Plus the Aftermath DLC that added a little extra story to the Mortal Kombat universe was just like the icing on the cake for this game. And I can only look forward to a Mortal Kombat 12 and just look forward in general to what they got going in the future, especially with the new movie that they got going out. It's just like, it's definitely the year for Mortal Kombat for sure.
Yeah, to echo off that, for me, Mortal Kombat 11 does so many things right and pushes this genre forward for the fighting game genre. For me, I love the fantasy fights that this game has actually given us this year. The Spawn versus the Jokers, the the Terminator versus RoboCop, Terminator versus Rambo. Like, it's insane that one game can provide all those fantasies in one title alone. And again, the creativity of the fatalities, the babyalities that they brought back this year as well, but with Infinite, a free update. Just Mortal Kombat 11 just scratches everything that you need in a fighting game. So I definitely choose that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all the points Tim said, especially like fulfilling those fantasies. It's something that we like to see in fighting games. It's something that we wish we would see in Super Smash Bros. But, we're going to get Steve instead. With that being said, when you look at Street Fighter V, One Punch Man, Under Night, Grand Blue Fantasy, they're all kind of like clones of Street Fighter. They have that similar 2D side-scrolling type fighting style, which is pretty good, but I think what's going to make people choose those games is more fan-based rather than necessarily gameplay, because they all kind of play the same way. Whereas Mortal Kombat 11 still, it's the most different out of the four, while also adding a lot more variety. And it's not even because it's 3D that makes it better. Like, 2D is still a good thing. It's just there's just more being brought into that game, and especially like you said with your fantasies, you get to play as characters from the 80s, you get to play as characters from now, you get to play as characters from Mortal Kombat series, even when DC, when they had their own game. Like, yeah, Mortal Kombat's always kind of trying to make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, so it's unanimous.
Fatality. So we got best score music. This one's a really tough category. We got some good competition. Last of Us Part 2, really great soundtrack, 1 and 2, the whole time you feel involved. The sound effects, everything about it is good. Doom Eternal, all the Dooms have always had an awesome soundtrack. I can't really picture any other genre other than the metal that they play in that game that makes you feel pumped enough to run around and blast these fucking demons to hell. But Final Fantasy VII, I'm sorry again, biasism, but the fact that they remade this game, but then they also remade the soundtrack, like, I'm sorry, you can't beat it. The soundtrack back in the PlayStation 1 was already amazing, and it was also revolutionary at the time because of how much information they could fit on the disc. But now you have a full soundtrack that was completely made with a full live orchestra. They go around this orchestra throughout the world touring this music. Out of all these games, it's the only one that people actually go to a concert to, pay to hear and re-listen. So that alone is should be your answer.
Yeah, no, to echo off that, I feel like Final Fantasy music and Legend of Zelda music are just like, they're just at the epitome of soundtracks. It's like, if you think of gaming music, those two games probably come to your head first before anything new. Obviously, kudos to Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and The Last of Us Part 2 being newer IP. And Doom, I would say, like, to play devil's advocate, I would choose Doom Eternal as a second out of all of these. But honestly, like, even though like I haven't really experienced a Final Fantasy VII game, like, or Final Fantasy game through and through, I would definitely say their music is top of the line. So I'm going Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, if there's one game out of this entire list that defines the award best scoring music, it's definitely Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because Nobuo Uematsu, he doesn't play around. Anytime that he's put on the job to make music for anything, it's like it's gold. It's Oscar nominated. It's whatever they're giving away for music nowadays. He's the guy for it. Like, Doom Eternal definitely pumps you up. He makes you want to body. He makes me want to kill myself sometimes when I listen to his music. But no, definitely like Final Fantasy VII. Like, even Ori has like a very, 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 very ambient music. It's very mythical, very fantastical.
It sticks with you.
It's very beautiful music that they compose in that. So, kudos to Gareth Coker for that. But like, yeah, Final Fantasy VII, without a doubt, like Nobuo Uematsu, just hats off to you. I don't know how you do it, but keep on doing it.
Yeah, keep at it.
Now we got the Game of the Year, and we all know the Game of the Year is the game that recognizes a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. So this is for all the marbles. This is for all the kids out there and the wannabe gamers and whoever the hell's watching this right now. Sorry, children. The fighting continues. So, I mean, honestly, these games did just an amazing job this year. Every single one of them played a very pivotal part in the game industry as a whole, and you know, it's just very, 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 very solid choices this year. And honestly, whoever ends up winning, you know, they deserve it. Even just being nominated is a grand achievement, because games are just getting just more amazing every year. Like, what can I tell you?
Yeah.
But I think for me personally, the one studio that really stood out to me, that like with a game that I just never expected to be even playing from them, is Ghost of Tsushima by Sucker Punch. Like, after playing Infamous, I wasn't expecting, to be honest, anything better than that. Like, and they hadn't made really anything better than that for a long time. But just like Guerrilla Games, who brought us the Horizon series and blew my head out of the water with that game, Ghost of Tsushima did the exact same thing. Like, they made a game so beautifully tailored and so beautifully mastered that I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. To this day, I'm still playing this game and finding things to do. And it's the kind of game you can just get lost in for hours and hours. Not even playing the regular story mode, just marveling at the beauty of the character, the world. And they really just took their time and they made a good game. And they showed that, you know, we can make good games. Like, don't even think about Infamous. Like, that game was just a test run. Now, you know, this is a game. This is what we're capable of. And just being a studio that obviously had no contention with any other studio for a long time, and then coming out of nowhere with this masterpiece, like, they deserve all the praise, and they deserve to be Game of the Year in my mind's eye. Like, they're definitely the underdog, and, you know, deserve all the praise they can get.
Honestly, out of all of Sony studios, like, there is so many great games they have always brought us. Like, God of War winning a few years past, like, definitely well deserved. I think Ghost of Tsushima is such a good game. Sucker Punch coming out of nowhere to deliver this product, and like Infamous, like, just to kind of like echo what you said, like, this is just not a game that you think is coming from that studio, like, at all. Like, they kind of like gave their own studio a whole new life. But again, like, shout out to Hades, Final Fantasy VII, Doom Eternal, really good to be in this category, like, honestly. But I just think, again, The Last of Us Part 2, like, there's just no game like it, in my opinion. Like, it's just the story that you go on with Ellie, it'll tear you up inside. And I just feel like playing through a game, like, I've experienced what a game like a Ghost of Tsushima has done. Like, I've experienced the game with Animal Crossing. I've played Sims, you know what I mean? Like, Hades, like, and Doom Eternal. I played a Doom before, you know what I mean? But like The Last of Us Part 2, like, it just, how it changed itself from the first game to this game, and it's just like Naughty Dog, like, has no bounds. Like, they have no ceiling. Like, every time they break like the expectations you may have for this studio, and they're just like, how about even better graphics? How about even better sound? How about even better soundtrack? How about like everything, more characters, just the whole world? It's just like, they really built this out, and the narrative ties to everything in this game alone. I just think, like, audio design, like, I can talk about this game all day, but I just think Last of Us Part 2, like, from a sales perspective, from like how many people that played this game, like, you felt a way playing this game. For me, they won with just that. You felt a way, even if you didn't agree, even if you didn't like what Ellie did or whatever. I feel like with Last of Us Part 2, like, you're getting an experience. It's not just a game.
Yeah, honestly, these are really hard. I wish I played Ghost of Tsushima. It sounds like it's a really good game. I've seen people play it. I've seen you know, Jamal play it here in the house. Looks like a fantastic game. With that being said, it's definitely between Last of Us and Final Fantasy VII. I really wish Final Fantasy VII was a completed game in which all three parts were together. It's not fair almost to throw it in this game of the year, because it's not even a finished game.
And if it was a finished game, no question.
Yeah,
no
if it was a finished game, I would pick Final Fantasy VII. I mean, just watching the intro for the screen pop
Just the
up
menu
makes
alone,
me, yeah,
like,
it just makes me get all
I had
warm and shit.
puberty
And
all
I have
over
all
again.
this,
Like,
all these flashbacks, all this
Yeah.
like, you know, all these memories, nostalgia, everything just comes back. And while I'm playing it, I'm like, this is amazing. But at the end of the day, it's an incomplete game,
yeah,
right?
but it could have been
Um,
it could have been terrible. Like, they
Yeah.
could've brought
At
it
the end of
back,
the day,
it
when
could've
I'm
been
roaming
terrible.
around though in the cities and like I'm seeing everything remade, like it's phenomenal. And I wish I could pick it, but it's not a complete game. So for me, it's gonna be Last of Us Part 2. You know, what they do with Joel, what they do with everybody in that game, it's also a very real story. It feels very real. It feels like this could actually happen. And the way that Naughty Dogs goes about their video games, they always make it seem like you're watching a movie. So that more just makes you feel more immersed into the game. And I think they did a really good job with that.
Hopefully, the
100%.
movie is just as good as the game was. We'll see.
Oh, like the HBO series?
They didn't even need a movie after those games, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like part 2
But-
really capitalized. Like
Yeah.
this is the whole story here. But yeah, that were our picks for
Solid
the
year
awards.
of gaming for sure, especially for Sony. Like, if anybody won the year, it was definitely Sony for sure. They're laughing.
Yeah,
They're
for
laughing
technical
this year.
achievement, I definitely think
They're
Sony
laughing
has
this year.
pushed.
They have been for the
Push
the
last
boundaries.
like
So
10, 20 years now.
they're
Yeah,
just,
no,
like,
Sony's
every
done a
year,
great
every
job.
year they're just pushing heat. And
Maybe
it's
one
like,
day Nintendo will, you know,
yeah,
actually make some Nintendo games.
yeah.
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's still a game of the generation, in my opinion. But just like again for this year alone, great nominees here, and honestly, I can't wait to see who eventually wins the coveted Game of the Year award. But let us know in the comments what you guys think should win the Game of the Year
Or
or
should
any
it.
other categories that we talked about today. And yeah, please subscribe if you love me, I mean us, and hit the notification bell to get
Yeah.
the update on videos that come out. And we'll see you then.
All right.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.